Y'all, some crazy documents just leaked from the ongoing federal case against Diddy. And it looks like we finally have confirmation that not only was Rihanna allegedly Jay-Z's victim, but he also sold her to his BFF Diddy, as well as other people in the industry. The streets have been saying this for a hot minute now, that Jay-Z is not exactly innocent, because he and Diddy were up to some real crazy stuff on the down low, and it looks like those shenanigans are finally coming to light. Y'all, looks like we finally know why. Rihanna never wants to get in the studio again, according to these documents. She was allegedly turned every way but loose. Y'all need to get in on this, cause this tea is absolutely crazy. The streets have been buzzing about Rihanna and Jay's real relationship for ages, and those rumors just don't seem to fade. Rihanna entered the industry as a teenager, and Jay-Z was her mentor, basically running every part of her life. The gossip about their dynamic has always stayed strong. Even though they have both denied being involved with each other, Rihanna didn't take his mentorship for granted because she was super grateful.
Working with Jay and having a collaboration with him is just one of those things that everyone dreams to do in their musical career. And here I am at 19 years old with the #1 single and featuring Jay-Z. It's just, I can't fathom it sometimes. It's just too much for me it's overwhelming sometimes.
Then the tea started spilling that Jay-Z and Rihanna might have secretly had something going on, even though he was married to Beyonce. At first, people weren't really tripping, because fake rumors are flying around the industry all the time. But instead of fading away, these whispers just got louder. Next thing we know, her publicist, Jonathan Hay, stepped up and took the blame, saying he started the whole thing just to chase some clout and get publicity for Rihanna. He said the PR stunt that I did was out of desperation to help break Ponder Replay. He wrote it was so reckless, and I didn't think it was going to work. I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I didn't think it would be this big story. But now, knowing that people are profiting from speculations and opinions about her really turns my stomach. I'm ashamed that I'm even talking about this. I just want to put this rumor to rest once and for all, but honestly, this story didn't even make sense because Rihanna was already a force in the industry and had already made a name for herself, so there was nothing for her to gain from some so-called publicity stunt. But that was the story that they went with for years, and it didn't take long for some shady business to pop up, and this time it was when Rihanna shared the real story about how she got signed to Jay-Z. Now, we all think we know the story, or at least the glossy version we were fed, but turns out the truth may be way darker than we ever imagined. So y'all do know that Rihanna is a Barbados PD, right? Well, by chance, she caught the eye of a music exec while he was on vacation, and boom, she got flued out to the US to perform for L3aked Reid and Jay-Z alone as a teenager. This should have been a major red flag, but nobody really questioned it. She was only 16, so legally a peer, parent, or guardian should have been with her. But no, she was on her own, and it got weirder. Sis kept waiting in the office until 3 o'clock. Because Jay-Z was apparently under strict orders to sign her no matter what. Now, I don't know about y'all, but keeping the 16-year-old in the office until 3 o'clock a.m. is beyond red flag and sketchy. To make it even more wild, in an interview, Rihanna said that Jay-Z joked about throwing her out the window of his 27th floor office if she didn't sign.
Nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Ponder Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
So then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, you did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure working with Jay-Z, you met Beyonce.
Intimidating a 16-year-old at 3 in the morning, yeah, it's definitely a bad look, no matter how you tried to spin it. and pressuring her into signing a contract with these threats. That's even worse. And on top of that, there's still some confusion about whether Jay-Z even had the legal right to make her sign. Remember, Rihanna was 16 at the time, and at that age, you typically can't sign legal contracts without a parent at least present. Plus, she didn't even have a lawyer to look out for her, so she might have been unknowingly giving up everything. And if these new reports are true, she pretty much did. Jaguar Wright was one of the first to blow the whistle, claiming Jay-Z allegedly from Barbados, using his label as a cover. She also claimed Jay-Z allegedly handed Rihanna's father $500,000 when she arrived in the U.S.
Discovered Rihanna at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room on the island where she comes from, with no parental supervision. And then she was put on a private plane, a minor, from one country to another, without parental supervision. And she ended up in a boardroom with Mr. Carter, without parental supervision. Y'all got young children. Would you just let your daughter leave and go to a whole other country with some motherfucking you don't know?
Absolutely not.
Doing talent shows at 3 a.m.
So you're saying that the rumors are true. There are rumors circulating that Rihanna was actually trapped here. Are you saying that
Starting to
that's...
sound that way, don't it? Because her daddy ain't show up till 24 hours later to pick up a $500,000 check for his daughter's ass. Maybe we should look more into that album, Auntie. That album cover was disturbing. A child bride with a crown over her head and smeared on her face.
The whole situation is beyond crazy. But why would Jay-Z pay Rihanna's father that much money in the first place? It started making sense. Though, when you remember that Rihanna once shared how her dad was cruel towards her and her mother, hurting them on multiple occasions, Jaguar Wright claims that her father allegedly sold her to Jay-Z, and even her publicist's story seems to point out in that direction. But before we get into what the publicist said, let's talk about another claim from Jaguar Wright. She also alleged that Jay-Z would force Rihanna to perform certain favors for industry-minuted events. Jaguar even suggested that this might have been the reason that Chris Brown lashed out on Rihanna back in 2009.
And Rihanna ain't innocent. Because she was in there giving that nigga blow job in the coat closet when Chris Brown came in. He said, always sucking something. Then he said, I'm done with you. And he stormed out of Clive Davis's house, got into his very expensive car, and Rihanna chased after him. She gets in the car and started fighting on him because he embarrassed her for calling her a sucking and saying in front of everybody that she gave him at Clive Davis's house the night before the Grammys.
So what did Rihanna's publicist say about all this? Well, he hinted very strongly that Jay-Z's hands weren't all clean. And Rihanna was allegedly, get this, he claimed in an inter that the feds had once interrogated him about Jay-Z's alleged scheme, and that they believe that Rihanna could have been one of his. He said, "It's time for me to finally set the record straight once and for all, as it's way beyond shocking, messy, and just flat out crazy as F prepared to be blown away as what I have been through over the years. Involving this historical scandal that needs to be put to bed for good. Yes, heads are going to roll, and people will be floored, but the truth needs to be revealed," according to him, when he put out what he believed to be fake rumors about Jay-Z and Rihanna. He was taken in by the feds and interrogated because they had been investigating Jay-Z. For he said, "One day unmarked law enforcement cars stopped me. These intimidating individuals introduced themselves as a federal task force, and they requested to speak with me, so I followed them to talk. and I was in a complete state of panic as I sat in the desolate makeshift interrogation room. The gravity of the situation became clear to me